can truly say that this is one of the happiest days of my life.
So remember, no matter what you've gone through or what you've been through, you can come out a better person if you're willing to do the work.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Todd Williams and Amanda Finn up. If you would come forward, please. Todd will lead us in the invocation, and Amanda will lead us in the pledge. If you would all rise for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge, please.
Hello. All right. Lord God, you have called your servants to ventures of which we cannot see the ending, by paths as yet untrodden, through perils unknown. Give us faith to go out with your good courage, not knowing where we go, but only that your hand is leading us and your love supporting us. Through Jesus Christ, amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. That took a lot of nerve. You know, they were the first ones to be up here and the first ones to speak. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you. I'm your host tonight. I'm Courtney Cherry, Supervisor of Adult and Community Education with St. Tammany Parish Schools, and I'll be hosting our event. But we have a lot of other guests here and people who have come out to wish your graduates well. First of all, I'd like to introduce Ms. Gail Sloan, our Superintendent of Schools. Mr. William Trey Foltz, here, he's Deputy Superintendent. Mrs. Cheryl Araby, Assistant Superintendent of Instruction. Mr. Peter Jabia, Assistant Superintendent of Human Relations. We also have some school board members, first being Mr. John Lamarck, President of the School Board. He represents District 10. Did I get it right? No. 13, sorry, yeah. And Ms. Roanne Tipton, representing District 6. Got that right. And now representing District 10 is Mr. Ronald Betancourt. we're very pleased to have them, and they're always very supportive of our GED graduates. Also, each of our students knows at least one or two of these folks. I'd like to introduce the adult education staff and ask them all to stand. Thank you. They've worked hard with your students. Each one of them has formed a special relationship with them. There's a couple I'd like to point out, especially Bonnie Mermillion is the adult education secretary, and all of you have dealt with her at one point in time. Stand up, Miss Bonnie. Thank you. Also, we have one very special person. Mr. Eric Nye has volunteered for years and spends a lot of time with our students. As a volunteer. Also, Miss Maisha Harrell is with WIA, very supportive of the program, works very closely with our students. Then there's two that I need to ask to come up here for a minute. Jim and Jean, come up, please. Just come right down the front. These two have worked long and hard in adult education, and they're going to their reward. Doesn't mean they're dying, they're retiring. And we have a gift for you right here. One here, and this one, right. The basket, and that one too. Thank you all for your long service. Also,
One second.
what?
We have a surprise. The reason why those two wonderful teachers came up here to get a little special presentation, I don't know if he said this, but they're getting ready to retire. Also, Dr. Cherry is retiring. So what can I say? He's been around a little while. He was telling me today, I think this is a really precious story. He was saying that he was interviewed for this position by Dr. Lindsay. And Dr. Lindsay asked him a question. He said, do you plan on just making this a stepping stone, or a bus stop, or are you planning on making this a career? So his answer to that was he and his wife planned on being here for long term and raising their family here. So we have this wonderful plaque from the adult ed staff. It says, goodness. Presented to Dr. Courtney Cherry in recognition for 30+ years of service in education.
Oh.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you. Well, that's a surprise. And all y'all got was a crummy plant. By the way, that was one of those tricky questions that school board members asked in an interview. I should have coached you on that one, Trey. And I did. I kept my promise to Dr. Lindsay. I stayed. We're very pleased also to thank Journey Fellowship Church for providing these great facilities. And the Sheriff's Department is always here to ensure public safety. And finally, Channel 13, David Williams and his crew. And these proceedings will be broadcast on our own school board, Channel 13. It'll run many, many times in the next few weeks, and you can tape it right off of there so you can have a copy for yourself taped directly from your television. So be sure and watch for that. Okay, now for the, well, we always have a main speaker, and we've had one that's been a very good friend of ours for a long time because he has such a tremendous track record, and he'll tell you some of his story. I'm going to tell you where he ends up. He may tell you where he began, because he began in one of those seats that you're in right now. Claude A. Gilliott is a licensed professional counselor and a licensed marriage and family therapist, and they are different, takes 2 different degrees. He's been in private practice since 1989, helping families and couples and individuals overcome a variety of problems of everyday living. He was trained in the family systems approach to helping people at the New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary, and did postgraduate work there too, as well as UNO and Southeastern. He's served as a pastoral counselor, an admissions counselor, and multifamily group counselor in psychiatric hospitals, and as a contracted health professional, mental health professional with St. Tammany Parish School Board. He has served as a mediator and conflict resolution specialist within corporate environments, and he works to reduce stress and tension between individuals and between groups of people and companies, both large and small. He is a working professional, and he came from a very interesting background. So join me in welcoming Claude A. Gilliard.
Sounds like a pretty cool guy. I'd like to meet him someday. And I wrote that. It's a pleasure to be here, as it is every year. I want to tell you how it started about 10 years ago. I was working in the school system as a mental health professional at William Pitcher, and back in those days, some of you may remember, the school system's headquarters was next door. And so we all would eat lunch often together. And over a conversation one day, you meet the folks sitting next to you, and you're talking, what do you do, who are you? And I meet these folks with this program called Adult Education. And I said, Adult Ed, what do you guys do? That sounds interesting. And so they tell me that they're helping folks who left traditional school setting for whatever reason earn their GED. And I said, whoa, wow, I have one of those. And he said, do you really? Would you come and talk to our grads? Well, I'd love to. Wow, what an honor that would be. I'm thrilled, yeah. And from a chance conversation, each year I've had the pleasure of coming to speak to graduates. How many now? Hundreds, if not thousands, through the years, and get to spend time with some great friends and see your smiling faces as you've completed an incredible task. Share with you a little bit about how I got to where I am. How many of you ever heard of an old guy named Peter Frampton, guitar player, back humble pie? You remember that guy? And he had an album way back when, 72, 73, called Winds of Change. And when I was in high school, the winds of change were blowing. There was this terrible war going on, and they were drafting kids left and right, shipping them overseas. Politics were very divided at that time. People were polarized, very divisive. And it was the summer of love. It was post-hippies. It was like, hey, whatever. And you know, those teachers didn't get me, and my parents, what did they know? And I was a lot smarter than most of them, and so I quit school. They were just getting in my way. Quickly realized that maybe that wasn't the smartest thing I could have done. And I'll give you just a brief insight. My family of origin put the fun in dysfunctional. True story. Working in therapy all these years, I now appreciate what that really means. And so I did need school, got away from it. My mother, bless her heart, had never finished high school. So at 40 years of age, she encourages me to go back to get my GED. And I'm like, I don't know. Why? Well, I'll go with you. Oh, okay. Again, we weren't real solid on anything if you were young back in those days. And so I went back to school, and we both got our GED together. And it was a pretty special moment. Proud of her. And today I can look back and be grateful to her that she was willing to take that step at that time in her life to encourage me. No sooner was I finished than I decided, so now what do you do? And this ties in with why Dr. Cherry and the other folks in Adult Ed asked me to come speak to you all. What happens here tonight is the beginning, the springboard for anything you want to do. You now have your diploma. If you want to go into the service, if you want to go to college, if you want to go to a two-year school, if you want to go to the technical college, and I have to tell you, I have a personal bias these days. I'm convinced that one of the fields that is going to continue to be strong will be the trades, any skilled trades, electricians, heating and air conditioning folk, plumbers. Those are all going to be strong trades for a long time to come, and any of you who pursue those, I applaud. So I went on to college and finished up and worked in radio and television for a number of years. I've shared these stories over the years. I'll give you the condensed version. Worked in radio and television for a number of years, decided to go back to school because I thought I could help people, and maybe even young people who were like I was. glutton for punishment, wasn't I? And went back to the seminary, got my degree, and have been practicing in psychotherapy ever since. Fast forward to the future. The winds of change continue to blow. They blow ill. Sometimes it seems these days they blow good. There's a lot of change going on in our world today. Politics seem more divisive than ever. There are difficult choices that folks are having to make about their lives and the directions we're going in. You hear about folks retiring, and you hear about wars being fought in places and our young people being shipped overseas. We support our veterans and our soldiers and our men and women who are fighting for us so that we can be here free tonight. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. And some of you perhaps will choose or have chosen that career path. But again, history seems to me to be cyclical. We're going through that time again when there's great polarization in our society. I'm convinced that we'll find our way through it. The American people are incredibly resilient. You all hold the keys to the future and will make the difference and determine where we go. It's a lot of weight on your shoulders, but I know and I believe that you all will make sound choices and that we're in good hands. Please take what you've earned, worked hard for. In fact, can I just say that it was 37 years ago that I got my GED. I'd hate to take that test you guys had to take these days. I don't know that I could pass it. Wow, it's tough, and I know you worked awful hard to get where you are today. Be proud of yourself, enjoy your accomplishment, take it, and use it as a stepping stone to go to that next step. Continue to learn. Education is a lifelong process, doesn't end here. And can I ask you just kind of a personal plea? Part of my role for the past 10 years is to be an advocate for adult ed. I want to encourage you all to support literacy, adult literacy in Louisiana. Again, we talked about the winds of change blowing. There are some changes happening right now in the system, and we hope and pray that adult ed will continue to be as strong here as it has been, and that we'll continue to be able to gather once a year to see folks' smiling faces as they graduate. Thank you all. Congratulations. Look forward to seeing you out in the community making a name for yourselves. Good night and God bless.
Thank you, Claude. You know, he mentioned keys. I guess all of you can remember maybe the first time you got a set of keys to a car. Maybe it was a new car, maybe it was a used car. And boy, that felt good, didn't it? But you know, that car probably didn't last forever. Wore out, you know, maybe it got wrecked, maybe it got stolen. But this that you're having tonight is keys to your future. Nobody can take that away from you. And you've worked hard to earn it. In fact, let me tell you, if you don't know what your graduate has gone through, the GED test is about 7.5 hours of testing in the 5 subjects of math, reading, language arts, science, and social studies. It is grueling. And you've overcome the hardest part. You've overcome the fear of going back to school, sometimes the embarrassment of it. But listen, you've succeeded and you're winners. This proves that you can accomplish goals that you set for yourself. And don't make this the last goal. This is just the beginning. You see, this man has worked his way through a bachelor's degree and advanced degrees to get to a career that he wants to do. Pick something you like, that you want to do, and go for it. I don't think you'll face any other challenge that's any harder than this, because you had to overcome inertia, go do this while you had families and lives to take care of yourselves and others. That was a tough grind, but you can do it, and it's worth it. It's a key that no one else can take away from you, and it'll never depreciate, can't get stolen. So congratulations, folks. Let's give them a hand. I've said before, this is a great job because I love helping people, because all of us had to start somewhere, and some have had better advantages than others perhaps, but you have fought your way back and come back and done it, so you're winners, and keep it up. Now is one of my favorite times in this where we ask a few graduates if they would come and share a few comments about how the GED has affected their lives. And so we'll ask Kathy Baudouin, I tried to say it in French, Maurice Custer, and Monique Ortiz-Williams to come forward, please.
Hey, everybody. Woo, it's a hot mic. You know, when I was asked to give a small speech on why I decided to finally take my GED examination and receive my high school diploma, I said, phew, piece of cake, no problem. I'll do this easy. You know, and then I actually sat down to write these pearly words of wisdom, and was barraged by a myriad of thoughts and images. And as I waded through them, a few things did become self-evident. And I'll name them for you. Number one, I had all this unfinished business, and I needed to tie up loose ends. My academic career ended in the 11th grade. I was a young, unwed, soon-to-be mother, and I placed schooling on the back burner. Woo. For years, I've been plagued by dreams of returning to school quite unprepared, crazy dreams. Either I had no shoes, no books, or no clothes on. The symbolism is exactly how I've felt about life sometimes. For years, I've felt oddly unprepared, like something was missing. I didn't realize what that missing puzzle piece was until I moved back home 2 years ago. And it really bothered me that I had not finished high school and gotten my high school diploma. Number two, I was really tired of being a hypocrite. How can I be an example to my children, telling them that education is so important when I was a living lie? Now I can stand behind my words with my actions and say, hey, you know what? Education is important. Get your high school diploma, and then you have options. You're free to choose, which takes me yet to another reason for completion of this project graduation. Number three, options. Although I had years of life experience and had accomplished many great artistic endeavors, now when I was finally interested in taking my life to the next level, I was unable to go there. A big brick wall stood in the way, that high school diploma. Now that wall has been removed, and now I have a choice, which takes me to number four. The freedom to grow, to create, to learn. And you know, it really does feel good. The feeling of personal growth, which brings with it so many options and possibilities, which are endless. No one made me quit school. No one made me finish school. I was then and am now in control of my own destiny. I can truly say that this is one of the happiest days of my life. And I hope that it is yours also, because you did make the conscious decision to take your life by the horns, and now you have the freedom to take it to the limits. I'd like to thank my kids, my incredible family, and all the significant others that hang around my house. All the men and women working with the Louisiana Adult Education Program for their support, their hard work, and encouragement, for without your contribution, none of this would be possible. I urge you all to support your adult education programs, because as it has been said, that a mind, any mind, truly is a terrible thing to waste. Thank you very much.
Okay, wait. Hi, I'm Marcy. Mine started off as a teenager. I didn't want to listen to my parents. I thought I knew it all at the time. I wanted to make money and go for my GED at night. Well, that didn't happen. It wasn't until 13 years later I had a near-death experience that started to meet certain people God put in my path to begin being serious about getting my GED. One was Dr. Palapoli, who asked me, "What are you doing with your life?" I thought, what am I doing? You ever ask yourself, what are you doing with your life? Everything my dad would tell me is what he was saying. It wasn't until then I said I need to get my GED. The next Monday I went to Covington Adult Ed, didn't know I would see the next person put in my path, Miss Gwen Paraloo from church. It was all coming together. I thought to myself, well, it was. Life is about stepping stones. I realize I'm just a late bloomer and want my son Blaine to have a mother to look up to, which now I'm confident he can. For everyone along the way, this late bloomer wants to thank you very much for being so patient with me. The end.
First of all, I would like to say that I'm very honored to be a speaker today. This journey has not been easy by any means, but I thank God for everything that He has put me through to make me a very strong individual. I dropped out of school in 11th grade. I was 17 years old. I let things that happened in my past dictate my future, and I will never do that again. I was a person that didn't care about anything or anyone and had so much hatred and anger in their heart. I was hanging with the wrong people and doing all the wrong things. But then one phone call from my little brother changed everything. That day, I realized that whether I like it or not, I'm setting an example for him. And if he sees me going down the wrong path, he will too. So in December 2008, I enrolled in adult education. They made sure I attended every day and did all my work, even if I didn't want to. The first time I took the GED test, I failed. So I studied harder and paid more attention. The second time I passed. I received my GED certificate on August 25th, 2009. That one was one of the best days of my life because my mom called me and told me that she was very proud of me. And ever since then, I've just been working hard and saving up to get a car, an apartment, and start college so I can accomplish my goals and continue to strive to be a better example for my little brother. It's not easy at all, but it's well worth it. So remember, no matter what you're going through or what you've been through, you can come out a better person if you're willing to do the work. Now I would like to thank some people in my life that have helped me along the way. First, I would like to thank God. If it wasn't for him, my life would not be here right now. Then my mother, Alice, for doing everything she could to raise me right. My little brother, Josiah, for being my #1 inspiration. My Aunt Olivia and Uncle Philip for always being there for me and never giving up. My cousin Alicia for always being a helping hand when I needed someone. Being sisters wouldn't make us any closer. Miss Phyllis Kreiner for taking me in when I didn't have anywhere else to go. My big sister Felicia for her love and support. My boyfriend Chase for supporting and encouraging me in everything I do. And his mother, Miss Diane, for treating me like family and gracing me with her words of wisdom. My whole family for never abandoning me. And last but definitely not least, Miss Maisha Harrell for going way beyond her teacher requirements to make sure I stay on the right track and accomplish my goals. And anyone else I failed to mention. Thank you so much for your time.
Isn't that great? Just wonderful. Each one of these graduates has a story, and they've overcome struggles and obstacles, challenges, and it takes a lot of courage, a lot of sweat, a lot of work to do it. But they've done it, and they're very successful, and we just want you to keep going at it. At this time, the superintendent, Ms. Gail Sloan, has some comments for you, And it's a bittersweet occasion for her because she is retiring also from our school system. So let's give her a hand for the leadership she's provided.
Thank you so much. Each year at this celebration of the achievements that you have accomplished, it's my favorite time. It's my favorite ceremony to go to. First of all, it's the last of 8 graduation ceremonies, and I have by now shaken thousands of young people's hands and listened to a lot of speeches, seen a lot of tears among graduates as well as parents about their children taking off and leaving home. Some of it is tears of joy, as you parents can imagine. But I always enjoy this celebration the most because, you know, I'm touched by the stories that I hear and inspired even by the stories we heard tonight, and somehow leave this event feeling cheered and hopeful that so many young people that may have lost their way, and some of them even that years later came back to take care of what we heard was unfinished business, come together on this evening to celebrate these unique and singular stories in a unique and singular way with all the people that matter so much to them, and that they acknowledge that it is those people out there pushing and prodding and encouraging them and calling them and sometimes making them push themselves to accomplish this, that they appreciate the help that they've gotten along the way. And that is a wonderful life lesson. So graduates, please take this opportunity to thank those of you who are so close to you that helped you reach this night. Please give them some applause, graduates. You know, by now you've heard a lot of advice. I always profit from hearing Claude Guillotte speak to the group, and he has great words of wisdom, and as does Dr. Cherry. And the stories you heard tonight were filled with good advice, too. You know, over the years, as I have addressed commencement ceremonies, I've always been able to share some advice that I thought was particularly important, things that I had learned during my lifetime. So after kind of a long life, hoping maybe there was some wisdom there that I could share with young people. And so this year, it is my last occasion, and tonight is the very last occasion on which I will get to have a forum to offer advice to young graduates. So I kind of collected some bits of advice I've offered over the years that I'd like to share with you. First is to build on your knowledge with further learning throughout your lifetime. But combine your skills and knowledge with caring and compassion. Be true to yourself and listen to your own moral compass. Temper values with virtue. Stay close to your family. Welcome new people who will further enrich your life, and be wise in determining those who will not. Remember that making a good living is not as important as making a good life. Develop a strong work ethic while also understanding the importance of rest and relaxation. Include faith and constancy in your daily practice and try to leave the world a better place. We're all counting on you to do that. We wish you luck as you move forward from tonight. Make it a launch pad from which greater things will come. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I think you can kind of see why she's such a great leader. At this time, we're going to ask Mr. John Lamarck, President of the School Board, to come forward too. He will assist in passing out the diplomas, and he always loves to shake everybody's hand. As he's coming up, I've got one favor to ask. You know, everything we've done here, we do for service to you, but you know how important it was to have those who encouraged you. If you know someone who needs to complete their education, encourage them to step forward and do it. Tell them how you did it. You know, acknowledge that it was tough, but you made it, and it's a wonderful feeling. Tell others about it so they can finish theirs if they haven't. Okay, at this time, if we'll get the first row, we'll rise and come forward. We'll give you the thing you've been waiting for all this time. Okay, you ready? All right, come on forward. Anastasia M. Anderson. Timothy M. Arsadi. Emily M. Barron. Kathy F. Bodwin. Kristen L. Brown. Annalisia A. Burns. Adam E. Butner. Ryan P. Kane. Kevin Carter. Angelina M. Shalona. Celeste M. Clark. Matthew J. Colan. Dwayne M. Cordier. Marcy A. Custer. Kristen L. Dillon. Greer M. Downs. Dwell A. Fashon. Amanda J. Finn. Joshua V. Fontaine. Anita V. Ford. Isaiah L. Foster. Destiny A. Gagliano. Kimberly L. Geeting. Casey R. Graves. Matthew W. Guillory. Brittany L. Hill. Hilda E. Henson. Tiffany R. Houghton. Ian W. Manning. Alvarez E. Masters. Wayne J. Min. Sabrina N. Middlebrooks. Deanna T. Mooney. Michael A. Moore. Amy E. Murphy. Samantha E. Nicholas. Monique Ortiz Williams. Antonio J. Patterson. Mary R. Pemberton. Derek J. Quinn. James A. Russian II. Jose J. Serrano. Randy L. Sharp. Beth S. Singletary. Angela G. Smith. Jill S. Smith. Jessica S. Taylor. Beth Taylor Carriere. Brandy M. Tano. Angelica U. Treadway. Anastasia M. Walker. Jared E. Wally. Todd D. Williams. And Jonathan A. Witham. Okay, as they take their seat.
Gotta get those pictures in. Graduates, if you would please stand. Each year, sort of the reward that I get for at the end of the school year and the end of the graduation ceremonies is to actually bestow the diploma upon each of you. So by the power vested in me by the State Department of Louisiana and the St. Tammany Parish School Board, I declare you graduates of the class of 2010. You may move your tassels.
Okay, folks, if you will remain seated and the graduates will stand and walk, then you'll be able to see them better.